Afternoon, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing? Hopefully you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Thank you very, very much. You guys know what the target is, 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I think we're going to get it. So thank you so much to everyone that has recently subscribed. All right, let's talk about Katie Taylor coming off that fantastically good fight. Fantastic fight against Amanda Serrano, Madison Square Garden. Fight of the year, I think, so far. I can't think of a fight that's been as entertaining this year. Stand to be corrected, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. Now, all of us, everyone assumed that it was going to be Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano rematch, whether that be at Croke Park or whether it be at MSG again. That ain't going to happen immediately. I still think it will happen down the line, but it isn't going to happen next. Amanda Serrano is fighting on the undercard of Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. She doesn't have an opponent, I don't think, yet, but that opponent won't be Katie Taylor, which is very, very disappointing, just because look, that was the best female fight I've ever seen. I'm not going to pretend to know the history of female boxing, and I'm sure there were some good female fights in the 90s and the early 2000s, but in terms of what I've seen, in fact, I hate to put it in just, it was a great female fight. It was one of the best fights I've seen. And you would hope that they would have ran that back. It ticked all the boxes in terms of sort of sold out Madison Square Garden, done ridiculously good numbers for DAZN, and you're thinking, go again. But look, it won't happen next. So what next then for Katie Taylor? I was only thinking this just because obviously she fought Jessica McCaskill and beat Jessica McCaskill at 140, I believe. So McCaskill's now undisputed at 147. McCaskill is a possible opponent. We're going to go through them. Now, the problem for McCaskill is she's at 147. Katie Taylor, obviously, her best work is at 135. There probably is a chance they meet in the middle at 140, but then there's no belts on the line. And look, there might be a stage of Katie Taylor's career where she doesn't necessarily need a belt. She's already won a belt at 140, but I feel like she might. It just adds to it when there's a belt on the line, doesn't it? It adds to the broadcast. There's no belt on the line, so I wonder if that fight can be made at 140. You look at other possible opponents, and there are good ones out there. The winner of Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Baumgardner. I think those two girls are going to sell that fight a lot. So whoever wins that fight comes out of that with then their levels just raised, right? People are going to know who they are, especially if it's Baumgardner, because obviously she works with Matchroom DAZN. Then that's a really big fight. Baumgardner will sell the fight well. You know she likes to trash talk. She did it to Terry Harper, got into Terry Harper's head. That's potentially a good fight. Chantel Cameron is probably my number one choice, just because Chantel Cameron is a belt holder at 140 pounds, is unbeaten. I don't know if it's a big enough fight. I don't know if Chantel Cameron has a big of enough following. It's difficult to go from a Serrano, where it was just epic on a grand scale, wasn't it, to a Chantel Cameron. That's not digging Chantel Cameron. Chantel Cameron's a good fighter. I'm just talking about sort of her pulling power. But then I guess you've got the Katie Taylor pulling power, so it doesn't necessarily really matter what Chantel Cameron brings to the table. She brings a belt, she's unbeaten, and a lot of people I speak to think she's the person that can and probably will beat Katie Taylor. So that's another option. So that's what, 3 or 4 good options there for Katie Taylor. Another one, and this has just been announced recently, and I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. I was a couple of years ago, I'm not now, and that's Cris Cyborg. Now, these crossover fights, it's weird how many of these crossover fights are actually spoken about and how many don't actually even happen. It's funny though, because we're hearing a rematch between Floyd and Conor, by the way. But that's a fight that I just don't like at all. Cyborg isn't what she was a few years ago. Still a very good MMA fight, but she isn't what she was a few years ago. Isn't a great boxer. I've seen sort of sparring footage of her. She isn't a great boxer. She doesn't have great hands. She has a lot of power, and she's a lot naturally bigger than Katie Taylor, but Katie Taylor will piece her up. Like, honestly, it will just piece her up. Unless Katie Taylor gets caught, and then there's a problem. Because again, Cyborg is a very, very powerful lady. There was some talk about Amanda Nunes as well, former UFC champion, but I think she's going to have a rematch with, I can't remember the name now, Venezuelan Vixen. I can't remember her actual name, I do apologise, but I think she's going to go for a rematch down there. So in terms of what will be next for Katie Taylor, it's actually none of what I've mentioned, believe it or not. So I don't think it's going to be Chantel Cameron. We know it won't be Amanda Serrano. It might shock you the name I'm going to say, by the way. It's just that I saw a tweet and it kind of made me think, are they trying to say something without saying something? So it won't be Amanda Serrano. It won't be the winner of Alicia Baumgardner versus Michaela Mayer. It won't be Jessica McCaskill. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it'll be Chris Cyborg. I saw a tweet the other day from Steffi Bull. Now, you guys should know who Steffi Bull is. He manages Terry Harper. And Steffi Bull said something along the lines, let me see if I can find it, in fact. It was almost the lines of, you've got to take your opportunity when it's given to you. 2-time or 2-weight world champion, which is key. The 2-weight bit's key. That obviously, Terry Harper was a world champion at 130, and now she's campaigning at 135. Who's got all the belts at 135? Katie Taylor. Let's see if I can find that Steffi Bull tweet. 2 secs, peeps. Now again, maybe I'm reading into things. Maybe, I'm doing 2 + 2 and I'm getting 100. I don't know. But I just kind of found it quite interesting that he said it. And I was like, are you trying to indicate here that Terry Harper is about to get the opportunity to fight Katie Taylor? Bear in mind, she's only coming off a win after that loss to Alicia Baumgardner. But I think he was trying to indicate that. Let's see if I can find it. I'm on his page now. Let's see. I don't want to get it wrong. Okay, found it. Finally. Okay. 1 second. Here it is. All right, this is from Steffi Bull. This is on his page, June 16th. Terry Harper consistently working hard in the gym. Sometimes opportunities come when least expected. Goal is to become 2-weight, 2-time world champion, working on something special, daring to be great. Expect the unexpected. Now, I'm sorry. What does that mean? Again, I'll read it out to you one more time. Terry Harper consistently working hard in the gym. Sometimes opportunities come when least expected. Yeah, goal is to become 2-weight, 2-time world champion, working on something special, daring to be great. Expect the What else could that be? What else could that be? I think Matchroom are going to announce Katie Taylor versus Terry Harper. I think they're going to do it. If I'm Terry Harper, take it. Take the opportunity. I mean, look, Katie Taylor should win, but she saw that the amount of damage that Katie Taylor took against Amanda Serrano, she might just be there for the taking. And Terry Harper's actually quite a big 135 pounder. Honestly, you look at her physically, she's putting a lot of weight. You heard it here first. Peace.